There's a Rolex sitting quietly in the lineup with over 50 years of tool watch history, yet somehow it never gets the same attention as a Submariner, GMT Master 2, or Daytona. And while most people gravitate towards the white polar dial, after spending 2 weeks on the wrist with the black dial Explorer II 216570, I think this might actually be the more compelling version. In fact, I'm starting to think that this is one of the most underrated watches in the Rolex lineup. Let's get into it. The OG Rolex Explorer II, reference number 1655, was introduced back in 1971. And maybe Rolex missed a naming opportunity here. This thing should have been called a cave dweller. It was made for spelunkers, cave explorers, people descending into complete darkness for days at a time, where there's no sunrise, no sunset, and no way to know if it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. Rolex's answer was his oversized orange arrow hand, something bold and unmistakable. Readable at a glance against a fixed 24-hour bezel, even deep underground, and collectors call this the Big Arrow. A bit funky, just like the word spelunker. Fast forward 40 years and Rolex releases the Explorer II 216570. Produced from 2011 through 2021, it brought the Explorer II into the modern era while staying true to the original concept. A larger 42mm case, an updated movement, and the return of that iconic orange hand inspired by the original 1655. Before I get into my wrist time thoughts, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Pure Watches for providing this Explorer II on loan for the channel. Their link is in the description below if you want to check them out. Now let's get into what I like. First is going to be the dial details. If you spend any time researching the Explorer II, you'll quickly find that most enthusiasts gravitate towards the white polar dial. And honestly, I get it. It's bold, instantly recognizable, and probably the version most people picture when they think Explorer II. But after 2 weeks with the black dial, I found myself appreciating it more each day. What surprised me most is how much it changes depending on the light. Most of the time it reads black, but get it into direct sunlight and it takes on this subtle brownish hue, almost warm-like. The matte finish adds to that character in a way that photos don't really capture. The polished white gold markers just pop, the orange GMT hands adds just the right amount of contrast, and the bases of the hands are blacked out, giving them this ghost hand effect. A detail that actually traces directly back to the original 1655 where the hands were black at the base by design, and Rolex made it intentional on the 216570 as a nod to the 1655. The black dial version just feels more aligned with what the Explorer II was originally built to be, function over form. And I completely understand why the polar gets all the attention, but after 2 weeks with this one, I think there's a strong argument that the black dial is actually the truer expression of the Explorer II. So what do you guys think? If you were buying an Explorer II today, are you going team black dial or team polar? Let me know in the comments below. The next thing about what I like is the finishing. If I had to describe the Explorer II in one phrase, it'd be heavy duty. Maybe that's the off-road guy to me talking, but this isn't the kind of watch that makes you nervous to put the first scratch on it. It's the kind of watch you wear while making memories and the scratches just remind you of where you've been. Rolex uses Oystersteel, their name for a stainless steel from the 904L family, and pairs it with a predominantly satin brushed finish across the case and the Oyster bracelet. To me, it's the perfect example of function over form. The brush finish does a fantastic job hiding the inevitable scratches and scuffs that come with actually wearing your watch, while the polished case sides add just enough contrast without taking away from its tool watch character. Now obviously I've only had the Explorer II for 2 weeks, so I can't tell you how this particular watch is going to age. But having owned my Submariner for over 2 years, which shares the same brushed finishing, I have a pretty good idea of what to expect. I've actually documented that over in my 2-year Submariner ownership review. I'll have that linked above and down in the description below if you'd like to check it out. The next thing that I like is the fixed 24-hour bezel. And I really like the way that Rolex finished it. The 24-hour graduations are machined directly into the solid Oystersteel bezel before being filled in black. Combined with the radial satin brush finish, it gives the bezel real depth instead of looking like it's simply printed on. There's something about that brushed steel bezel that just makes the watch look tough. Because the bezel is fixed, it's always there as a quick 24-hour time reference. Inside, Rolex paired it with a caliber 3187, a movement developed exclusively for the Explorer II 216570. It features an independently adjustable local hour hand, so when you travel, you can jump the local hour while the orange GMT hand continues tracking your home time against a fixed bezel. Today, I think it's just as useful for anyone who works in a 24-hour time, whether that's law enforcement, healthcare, EMS, aviation, the military. You can quickly glance down on your wrist and instantly reference 24-hour time without having to mentally convert it. It's one of those features that still serve a real-world purpose more than 50 years later. So what about you guys? Do you think the fixed 24-hour bezel is part of what makes the Explorer II special? Or would you rather have the versatility of a rotating GMT bezel? Let me know in the comments down below. The next thing that I like is the legibility. So what I really came to appreciate was really just how easy the Explorer II is to read. One of the first things you'll notice are the larger hour markers and oversized hands. This is referred to as a maxi dial, and it's all designed to improve legibility. Pair that with a bright orange GMT hand and the matte black dial, and everything is easy to distinguish with just a quick glance. And when the lights go out, that same focus on legibility continues with Rolex's Chromolite Lume. Just take a look at that, it's seriously impressive. Whether it's the middle of the day or middle of the night, everything about this watch was designed to be read quickly and effortlessly. Lastly, I really like how it wears on the wrist. For reference, I have a 7-inch wrist. The one thing I was probably the most curious about going into these 2 weeks was the size. On paper, a 42mm watch sounds pretty big, and I expected it to wear much larger than it actually does. The 216570 has a broad case with chunkier lugs and crown guards. Enthusiasts usually refer to this as a maxi case, and it definitely gives the watch more wrist presence. Dimension-wise, you're looking at a 42mm case, about 12.5mm thick, and roughly 50mm lug to lug. But numbers only tell part of the story. Take a look at that side profile. Despite the larger case size, it never really feels overly chunky on the wrist. In fact, it's one of those watches that look bigger than it actually wears. Once it's on the wrist, it feels balanced and comfortable without feeling too top-heavy. I also think the Oyster bracelet deserves some credit. It feels incredibly solid without feeling bulky, and it tapers nicely towards the clasp, which helps balance out the watch on the wrist. Built into the clasp is a 5mm comfort extension that lets you quickly adjust the bracelet without any tools. Rolex refers to this as the Easy Link extension. It's one of those features you don't think much about until you actually need it. Whether it's a warm day or you've simply been wearing the watch for hours, that little bit of extra room makes a noticeable difference in comfort. By the end of the 2 weeks, I wasn't really thinking about the size anymore, and I think that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. Now, there are a couple of things I consider before buying one. First is going to be the size. I think it wears better than the numbers suggest, but at 42mm, if you have a smaller wrist, I definitely recommend trying on one first. And secondly, if you're buying this primarily as a travel watch and want the flexibility of tracking 3 time zones, it's also worth taking a look at the GMT Master 2. There honestly wasn't much I disliked about the Explorer II. So after spending 2 weeks with the Rolex Explorer II 216570, I now understand why it has such a loyal following. The more I wore it, the more I appreciated it. The dial details, the purpose-built design all came together in a way I wasn't expecting. And it doesn't try to impress you the moment you put it on. It earns your appreciation the longer you wear it. And I think for most of you on the fence, that's exactly what you're looking for. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, and I'd really appreciate you subscribing and becoming part of the community. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.